Have you ever wondered what would happen if you skipped just one small part of your morning routine? What if that one forgotten step could unravel everything you hold dear? Marcus had always been particular about his mornings. It started innocently enough, the way these things always do. A simple routine to keep his anxiety at bay. Wake up at exactly 6:15. Check the locks on the front door. Count to 7. Check again. But routines have a way of growing, like weeds in an untended garden. What began as checking the locks once became checking them twice, then 3 times, then 7 times, because 7 felt right. 7 felt safe. The morning everything changed started like any other. The alarm pierced the silence at 6:15, just as it had for the past 3 years. Marcus swung his legs over the side of the bed, his feet finding the cold hardwood floor. Left foot first. Always left foot first. He had learned that lesson the hard way. The memory of that Tuesday still haunted him. The Tuesday he had stepped out with his right foot first. The Tuesday his sister called to tell him about the accident. The Tuesday he realized that some things were connected in ways the rational mind couldn't comprehend. He padded to the bathroom, counting his steps, 23 steps from bed to sink. It was always 23. If it wasn't 23, he had to start over. He had started over 17 times one particularly bad morning last month. The shower had run cold by the time he finally made it, but cold water was better than the alternative. Brush teeth for exactly 2 minutes. Rinse with mouthwash for 30 seconds. Spit 3 times. Not 2, not 4. 3. The number of completion, the number that kept the darkness at bay. Back to the bedroom. Make the bed with hospital corners. Smooth the comforter exactly 7 times. Fluff the pillows twice each. The ritual was expanding again, he noticed with growing unease. Yesterday it had been 6 times smoothing the comforter. The day before, 5. Something was building. Something that required more and more precision to hold back. Downstairs to the kitchen. Check the stove knobs. All 4, even though he hadn't cooked in days. Turn each one slightly to the right, then back to off. The soft click of each knob settling into place was like a prayer being answered. Check the coffee maker. Unplug it, then plug it back in. The red light blinked to life, a small beacon of safety in the growing storm of his compulsions. The front door called to him next. This was where the real work began. 7 checks, each one more thorough than the last. Turn the deadbolt, listen for the click. Turn it back, listen again. The sound had to be exactly the same each time. Any variation meant starting over. On the 4th check, something was different. The click came a fraction of a second too late. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Wrong. This was wrong. He unlocked the door and locked it again. Better, but not perfect. Again. Still not right. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he repeated the process. 7 times became 14. 14 became 21. The numbers had to be multiples of 7 now. When had that rule appeared? He couldn't remember, but he knew with absolute certainty that breaking it would bring consequences too terrible to imagine. The clock on the wall ticked past 7:30. He was going to be late for work. Again. But work seemed impossibly distant, separated from him by an ocean of incomplete rituals and growing dread. Check the windows, all 12 of them. Look for cracks in the glass. Any imperfection could be an entry point. Not for burglars, he had long since stopped worrying about anything so mundane. For something far worse, something that whispered at the edges of his consciousness, promising that one missed step, one broken pattern, would let it in. The whispers had started 3 months ago. Soft at first, almost like the house settling. But houses don't settle in words. Houses don't murmur warnings about what happens to men who forget to count their steps. By 8:15, Marcus was checking the electrical outlets. Every single one had to be examined for scorch marks, for any sign that the fire was preparing to start. The fire that would consume everything if he wasn't vigilant. If he didn't perform the rituals exactly right. His phone buzzed, a text from his boss. "Where are you?" it read. Such a simple question with such a complicated answer. He was trapped in his own home, held prisoner by the growing certainty that his rituals were the only thing standing between the world and chaos. 9 o'clock came and went. The morning routine that had once taken 30 minutes now consumed hours. Each completed task spawned 2 more. Check the smoke detectors. Test each one 3 times. Count the batteries in the drawer. Make sure the number was divisible by 7. But something was wrong with the math today. No matter how many times he counted, the numbers wouldn't cooperate. 49 batteries yesterday. 48 today. One was missing. Panic clawed at his throat. Where was the missing battery? What device was now vulnerable? What disaster was he failing to prevent? He tore through the house, checking every remote control, every clock, every device that might contain the missing battery. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. They spoke of consequences and failures, of the price of imperfection. In the basement, he found it. A smoke detector hanging open, its battery compartment empty. But this smoke detector wasn't on any of his lists. He had never seen it before. Yet there it was, mounted on the ceiling as if it had always been there. The missing battery lay on the floor beneath it, corroded and leaking. How long had it been dead? How long had this gap in his defenses existed? As he reached for the battery, his reflection caught his eye in the basement window. But it wasn't quite right. The reflection was smiling, even though Marcus most certainly was not. The reflection waved, even though Marcus's hands hung motionless at his sides. The whispers became a roar. The house shuddered. Somewhere in the distance, a smoke alarm began to wail. Marcus understood then, with crystalline clarity, that his rituals had never been symptoms of illness. They had been a dam, holding back something vast and hungry. And now, with one missing battery, one failed check, one imperfect morning, the dam was cracking. The reflection in the window stepped forward, pressing its hands against the glass from the inside. Marcus finally understood why his morning routine had grown so complex. It wasn't madness. It was the only thing keeping him safe from himself.